A Bitcoin peak in 2025 or thereabouts. This is kind of what it would look like. And what are these lines? I'm glad you asked. It's from the rough bottom to the rough peak. Um, Previous market cycles going back to the 2015, right? The bull run here, then the bear market, rough bottom, then the peak, 65K, and then where are we now, right? So why would we bother doing that? Well, based on logarithmic regression, that mathematics says that your angles are going to, become less and less over time. So we're looking at that, thereabouts. So based on where the bottom is, where you think the bottom is, we could be at the bottom in now. Some people think 14K, 13K, 12K, whatever. So I went ahead and did the worst possible scenario. Zero, no. So assuming you don't think we're going to zero and you think, we're going to bottom somewhere between here and 10K, roughly maybe this year, maybe whenever, right? So this will change the angle some, not a whole lot, right? So let's put it down there around 10K and let's put it like, mid-December, okay? Let's pretend we're going down here. Now, where's our next peak? So somewhere, and this is 3 years basically from now, this end, right? So assuming the peak is somewhere in that area, I think most people could relatively agree, at least at this point in time, that a possible peak somewhere between now and the next 3 years, emphasis more towards the 3-year part, could be a possibility, right? We're not saying this is going to happen. We're looking at possibilities. And the peak somewhere between, roughly 100K all the way up to roughly 200K, right? So giving that information, we want to also note that we need a lesser of an angle than this one, right? Based on logarithmic regression, which is based on math, math is, if you're going to follow anything in life, math is a pretty good one to follow. So based on that, we cannot take a whole lot longer to bottom because if we do, this angle is increasing. Do you see that, right? The longer we take, the angle increases. We cannot have, we're very unlikely, I should say, to have an angle greater than that one, right? So we need a less of an angle, right? So the order for us to do that, we either need to bottom sooner than later, or we could increase, the higher bottom, right? If the bottom is in now, that would help our angle out. But assuming we go down to these areas somewhere between now and the end of the year, we're looking, somewhere in there. And then, somewhere, this doesn't really affect it that much, right? So even if we go to 200K and even if we go all the way down to, let's say 9K, right? Something like that, we're right in the wheelhouse still of just making our angle a little bit less than previous cycle. I really think, if we go down this low, we're going to need to, push out our peak or, decrease where we're going to peak at, right? Maybe we peak at 90K, maybe we peak at 100K, just over 100K, right? That is a pretty big level that a lot of people were wanting and thought we would get this cycle. What happens if we barely get to it next cycle or not at all? Possibility. If we get to 200K, still not that, far-fetched, but, this is what we're kind of looking for and trying to plan out as of now. So do you think the peak, let me comment, do you think the peak's going to happen around in somewhere in this circle between, summer 2025 to, early 2026? That would happen in that circle. And, if you take this off of log scale, look at how batshit crazy this looks. I mean, look at these cycles, right? So now it puts it in perspective of kind of where we went in 2021 based on 2017. And now looking at this circle now, based on log scale, you can see just actually how great of a scale that is. And look at where we are now, right? We're basically got to use a telescope to see us going to this next peak, just like we did in 2021, going back to 2017. Look how small that looks based on that. Look how small this will look based on this, right? Assuming we make a new high and we don't go to absolute zero. Then Dan Pena was right. So let's let me know what you think. Do you think where's our next peak going to be? Do you think we'll hit 100K? Do you think we'll go, right at 100K, 150, 200 or higher, right? Where do you think? But looking at log scale, it looks much different, doesn't it? Log scale versus linear. So, just thought I'd put this out for a fun kind of weekend, end of week video to kind of keep it in perspective on where we are and where we're going. So do you think we're going to peak in here? That would kind of still rhyme with this 4-year cycles. Peak in 2021, 2022, peak in, 2025, 2026, something like that. It would rhyme with this angle, but we cannot go any steeper than this. So we're either, depending on where our bottom is, right, time will tell. It's obviously easy to see the bottom after, but when you're in it, it's kind of difficult, right? We could be bottoming now, getting ready to do this. And if we do, right, this angle, more or less, say around 150, this starts to look a little bit more in line with the descending angles that you want to see in log regression. So hopefully that helps somebody out there feel a little bit more at ease of where we're going, and keep the big picture in mind when things get tough. That'll help you out. So somewhere around this area seems to rhyme with me. What do you think? Leave me a comment below if you have another theory or want to talk about puppies. Anything you want. It's weird.